Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 100 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series, where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It is the Fallout show from the Made in Europe pay-per-view, our annual lads trip to Germany. So I hummed it over, I hemmed it and had it, and decided not to do anything special for episode 100. Just thought we already do year in review at the end of every in-game year, so those are our specials. But you know, woohoo, 100 episodes. So since it is the Fallout show, we haven't really got any news. It's only really been 4 days since you guys were last here, but let us take a look at the Made in Europe pay-per-view and how that went down. It was a solid outing, a bit poor for one of our pay-per-views. Previously we had scored such things as 79, 74, 77 and 74 again. So low for a pay-per-view, but overall still not a bad show rating. The Velocities continue to prove they are better than we ever thought they could be by defeating the Grizzly Young Vets and retaining the tag titles in a 74 rated match. We then continued the feud of Ricky Knight Jr. versus Joe Henning, which will play a massive part in tonight's show, where Ricky Knight Jr. got the win over Joe in a 61. And of course, the reunion of the Kings of Wrestling. And I was nervous that maybe it was all going to be all hype and no performance, but it wasn't, as the Kings of Wrestling, Cesaro gave us 67 and Chris Hero gave us 65. So it was good shit. And they beat Jay Lethal and James Storm in that match. Then probably the most disappointing match of the night, Mad Marley Quinn defeated Baby Allison to retain the Women's Championship. This was disappointing because Mad Marley Quinn and Baby Allison can't go more than 15 minutes due to lack of psychology. I know going forward that Mad Marley Quinn really can't have more than a 15-minute match without a penalty. Later on then, Easton Reese was able to retain the Intercontinental Championship against Jonathan Gresham and WXW star Damak. All in all, was not a bad match. Damak held his own with a 52, I believe it was. Yep, 52. Reese stepped up a wee bit and was able to perform a 50, and Jonathan Gresham, just being damn good at his job, got a 65. Then we had Raven Creed versus Crazy Mary Dobson, with Raven Creed getting the win and in a hardcore matchup. 58, very good from these two ladies. Well, very good from one of them. Crazy Mary Dobson with a 59, Raven Creed a 46. Wasn't very good from Raven Creed. And in the main event, Kenny Omega defeated AJ Styles. After the match then, Kenny did offer AJ the Too Sweet, but AJ low-blowed him just to continue the feud, because we have about a month left of that feud. Since this is a Fallout show for the pay-per-view, let's take a look at the storylines and what will be happening over the next couple of months. So Jonathan Gresham versus Easton Reese, also known as CCK versus The Prestige, that will be wrapping up in a month or two. Probably going to do one big 3v3 match with the factions, and then Gresham will finally get the win over Reese, getting the Intercontinental Championship like he was supposed to all along. Jimmy Hayter versus Martinez. So Bae Priestley is due to debut in the next couple of weeks, and then there's about a month of this storyline left. The big blow-off match will be Uday Tai, which is Jimmy Hayter and Bae Priestley against Martina and Rhea O'Reilly. Then Bae Priestley will move on to challenge for the Women's Championship, probably then dethroning Mad Marley Quinn. And Martina will continue to kind of just be our fan favourite mid-carder, probably. Next up, Davey Boy Smith versus Kip Sabian. This will wrap up this month. Plans changed, and because Sheamus was originally supposed to debut in this, but that's no longer happening. So Kip will get the win and go on to be a part of a mini feud with Kenny Omega, because Kip has been quite impressive since partnering him with his manager Vicky, formerly Vicky Haskins. Let's not get into that. But yeah, so Kip's been good. Definitely probably a main event talent. Not championship material, but he's young. If he continues to develop, Kip could easily be a future world champion. Then the reason we are back tonight, Cody Rhodes will be debuting tonight. Be immediately slotted into the Joe Henning Ricky Knight Jr. feud. This feud is all about heritage and dynasty and family names, so it's a perfect fit for Cody to come in and be like, hey yo, heard you guys are talking about like wrestling names, why'd no one mention me? And all this crap. Weirdly enough, not to date this episode, Cody Rhodes in real life won the Royal Rumble the past Saturday. What day is it today? Tuesday. So yeah, kind of a weird timing that Cody Rhodes would debut here, but it doesn't bother me because Cody Rhodes is going to be searched a lot between now and Mania in real life, which means this episode is probably going to get a lot of views. Just weird how things turn out like that, but hey ho. So yes, Cody Rhodes debuting, and then probably another good couple of months, Cody's going to be debuting as a face, and then, but no one's really going to trust him, rightfully so, because no one should trust someone who's that much of a babyface. So, and then he will eventually, once Tessa Blanchard comes back, he will turn heel and then become the new leader of Dynasty 2.0. So that's the plan. Raven Creed versus Mad Marley Quinn. This is going to wrap up this month, making way for B. Priestley versus Mad Marley Quinn. Raven Creed's been disappointing, to be honest. Probably gonna keep her as a mid-carder on the women's division, but yeah, Mad Marley Quinn's been an okay champion as well. Again, not blowing my mind. But I say we will continue to push this storyline, and then yeah, next month B. Priestley is going to come in and be champion. It's as simple as that. Aussie Open versus the Velocities. There's 2 months left on this. We will have Aussie. Oh no, there's 3. There's 3 months. Sorry. Next stop is going to be the Light Ghost Gym against the Velocities. Pretty much being like, you know, yo, what the fuck, yo, Aussie Open, who are our friends. We're nice to you, and you stab them in the back, even though the Velocities are like, it's not like that. And that'll be a match. And then next month after that will be the first Aussie Open versus the Velocities match. The storyline in that match is that Aussie Open won't take the Velocities seriously enough, leading to a quick pin. And then they'll refuse the handshake after the match, being pissed. Then the final match of this feud, Aussie Open will take them seriously, but Velocities will still get a win over Aussie Open, and that's when Aussie Open do give them the handshake. Definitely don't think we want to turn Aussie Open heel. I think they are too good at being babyfaces, and although the Velocities are good, I kind of feel Aussie Open are the face of our tag division. So yeah, plus Aussie Open are doing a lot of stuff down in Rev Pro at the minute, so it's not like they're going to be squandered. And then I don't know who the next challengers to the Velocities are. Maybe a tide-over feud with the likes of the NIC, but I don't know. I don't know just yet. I've got like 3 months to decide. Then in a new storyline, Kings of Wrestling versus the Prestige. So this is kind of a run-on from the P12 final between Claudio and Reese. During the contract signing for that, the Prestige put Claudio through the table. So Claudio hasn't really forgiven them for that. But this will be a good couple of months. Kings of Wrestling will try to beat them. Numbers give advantage to the Prestige will lead to Kings of Wrestling calling in some backup. That is when Sheamus will debut, being friends with Claudio from their tag days as The Bar. And then they'll get the win eventually in a 6-man tag or something. I don't know just yet. And finally, AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega. This will wrap up this month. Kenny will continue to be the world champion. Kenny, or AJ, will kind of drop down to a mid-card role. His match ratings are just kind of about that upper mid-card to mid-card role. I do have plans for AJ whenever the Ojimo, Michael Oku, comes up from Rev Pro. in a best in the world versus the best of the UK type of rivalry, which will turn AJ face, like as a show of respect, and then it'll be AJ Styles with Michael Oku versus The Prestige, which is the fan suggested storyline. So yeah, that's kind of the way I'm going with it. Whew, that was a lot of talking, but with all that done, let's book tonight's show and the debut of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Okay, and we are back, coming at you from a generic venue in the Midlands. I don't know why. That sounds silly, but I just couldn't be bothered going to the Frog and Fiddle again. It is Thursday Night Wanted. I had to drop 2 promos onto the pre-show just due to time restraints, but other than that, everything fit on snugly. So let's start the show. In a backstage promo, Jen Louise interviews Jamie Hayter, who says she finally got to hit Martina. It's something she's been wanting to do for a long time, and after she beats her tonight, she wants absolutely nothing to do with her. There's a 53 rated promo. And Jen's got her working boots on, because in another backstage promo, she informs Ricky Knight Jr. that after his performance at the pay-per-view, he will gain a number 1 contendership match against AJ Styles in the main event tonight. That's a 54 rated segment, and Brittany Knight helped Ricky Knight Jr. in the interview, which is good. Then in a pre-show matchup, Easton Reese defeated Dean Allmark in 9:35 with a powerbomb. Dean got a 31 and Easton got a 49, all in all a 46, which is okay. On to the main show, and then to open up the show, adrenaline in the soul. It's motherfucking Cody Rhodes. If people don't know this is a running joke between me and Nick, where anytime Cody Rhodes is mentioned, I will scream at the top of my lungs and in the most off-key way possible sing his theme tune. So yes, Cody Rhodes, fucking pyros go off, he gets the fucking Cody Vader, people are screaming, he kisses babies, he shakes hands, all that absolute fucking trash that he does, and he goes all the way to the ring. He introduces himself to the crowd, he does all the baby face bullshit, and says, he's come to NPW because he's heard a lot of people talking about wrestling names. You know, he's heard Joe talk about the Hennies, he's heard Ricky talk about the Knights, Tessa talk about the Blanchards, but you know, there's some name that everyone seems to be forgetting, and tells all of them to look up Rhodes and then get back to him. And he winks into the camera and swaggers off. 65 rated segment, which is very good. I sound like I don't like Cody Rhodes. I don't mind Cody Rhodes, but the man needs to realise that he's a tad insufferable. Like, because he is such an uber babyface that, like, you kind of just want to slap. He's such an uber babyface that it seems disingenuous. And that's the problem. Like, and that's such a good thing for a heel. Like, when you're such a babyface, it's almost grotesque. And he doesn't get that. Sorry, this has become a rant about Cody Rhodes. Sorry, moving on. Next segment. So, in our opening contest, Martina defeats Jamie Hayter in 14:45 with the Codebreaker after a distraction from Rhea O'Reilly. So Jamie got a 51, Martina got a 50, and a 54 overall, so they outperformed themselves, which is great. So this is just to set up that Jamie feels like she needs an equalizer and calls on her old friend Bea Priestley. Next up, Joe Henning defeats Rich Swann in 14:55. Joe with the 57, Rich with a 68, that's really good. All in all, a 65 rated segment. Then in a backstage angle, Kenny Omega is storming through the backstage area looking for AJ Styles. So he flies out of nowhere and lays out Kenny Omega. Tells him that beating him in the ring means nothing, and he will continue until he destroys Omega's spirit. 61 rated segment, which is good. Next up then, the Velocities defeated the NIC in 15:21 when Jude London pinned Charlie Cotter with the Blue Nation. Charlie had a 55, Oshin had a 54, both good from the NIC. Paris had a 66, Jude had a 68, very good from the Velocities, but they did get penalised for a lack of psychology. So we might have found the Velocities' Achilles heel then. So maybe something to look at after the show about the Velocities and their psychology, but saying that, they still scored very highly, so not too bad. And lots of tag bonuses for both teams. Overall a 62, which is very good. Post-match then, Lyco's Gym stormed to the ring with Aussie Open in tow, but they're trying to stop them. And Kid Lycos gets on the mic and is like, you know what, this is over, this comes to an end. And tell the Velocities to hand the belts back to Aussie Open to do the right thing. Calls them shitty friends, you know, you stab them in the back. They got you a shot at the titles and you stab them in the back. Velocities are just like, hold the fuck on. This has got absolutely nothing to do with you two. You need to get out of our faces. Lycos Jr., who's a bit of a hothead, just then snaps and tries to attack them. A little bit of a schmoz, just a bit of shovey, bargy. No actual punches thrown amongst the three teams. 46, I actually had everyone do a bit of talking here, so I don't know who really let us down. Maybe Lycos Jr., possibly the Velocities too. Next up then, in our main event, AJ Styles defeats Ricky Knight Jr. in 15-13 with a springboard 450. I think he calls on the Superman Splash. AJ a 56, Ricky Knight a 56, all in all a 58, and managerial bonus for Brittany Knight. Then a big schmoz, Kenny Omega storms to the ring and attacks AJ Styles, and a massive brawl ensues with agents and staff trying to pull the two apart. Kenny screaming, no, you should have just two-sweeted me, and AJ saying, fuck you, Kenny. I don't think that'll happen. But yeah, we'll say that's what happened. All in all, 77 because Conor McGregor was involved. 63, which is good. The main event was a bit disappointing, but I think that's kind of AJ Styles' fault. Everything else was pretty solid. Only a few bits of news coming out. Nothing to do with us though. Scott Steiner is retiring, 60 years old, goddamn. He is currently an occasional wrestler, so I assume he will move to maybe a manager, maybe a color commentator, I don't know. Probably not a road agent. And also Titus O'Neil, where'd he go? So Titus O'Neil also retiring. He left WWE a while ago. Our first year he left WWE in September. Now going to retire. I imagine he'll be a manager since he kind of did that already in WWE. Also WXW loaned out Cody Rhodes, so there you go. So next time you guys will be back is going to be on Tuesday for a Rev Pro episode. The reason being it is the first round matches of the Great British Tag League. We got the qualifications out of the way last block of tapings, and this is the first round of the actual tournament. So, of course, the tournament features the likes of the Motor City Machine Guns, Private Party, some of the invitational teams, and then our own talent such as the Filthy Generation, More Than Hype, so on and so forth. And also, Aussie Open will be relinquishing the tag belts, which will then be put up for grabs in the Great British Tag League. So, should be a lot of fun. If you have enjoyed this episode, do leave a like and subscribe to the Bash Bros channel for more Notorious and other great shows. And if you have any ideas for storylines, feuds, factions, tag teams, put them in the comments and I will try and book it for you. With all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.